Chapter 2. A systematic vicious circle can be broken if you change the system. Crisis, crisis, crisis. That's all we hear, day in and day out. But we forget that there has been a permanent crisis already for a long time. A rotten root that we risk to forget even more because of the current crisis jungle we are living in. Or at least that's what those who are partly responsible for this long-lasting crisis, or as I call it, systematic vicious circle, hope. To the outside world, the labor and healthcare system looks well thought through and excellent. But on closer inspection, the fish always stinks from the head downwards. And this is what I now want to question briefly, but critically, because it affects us all. Due to the constant crisis mode, the susceptibility for burnout or other mental or even physical illnesses increases. Loss of manpower is the consequence. The state and insurance compensate financially for this loss with our respective tax money and paid membership fees, of course. The pressure for those on sick leave increases as one is afterwards considered weak by society. This constant imposed pressure can even lead to the loss of work. But don't worry, because this is already taken care of. The affected person then ends up as applicant at the unemployment services or gets help from the trade union insurance. At least that is how it works in Sweden. There is even help in form of reintegration and professional upskilling offered. Does that make the person concerned feel better? Or is there a higher chance that that person who is already branded as a weak link in society risks being dragged down even more and become a long-term unemployment case? And then the whole process starts all over again because no other solution has yet been found. You see, it is a vicious circle from which it is difficult to get out, because the so-called well-intentioned help is basically a dependency. And it is based on the money that is paid by the citizens. Why is it a dependency? Well, it is the working women and men who have put their trust in the system, and thus it has become so powerful that its share in society is nowadays very high, nearly a monopoly to all intents and purposes. And so, especially given the current world situation with multiple crises such as corona, wars, climate change and inflation, hardly anybody would dare taking him or herself off this social security net. Full dependency, you see? This so well built up system or systematic vicious circle is in reality only a patch which only covers the symptoms but does not tackle and fight the disease or the evil at its root. It only prolongs the suffering of those concerned and reinforces their dependency. Pretty bad, don't you think? What condition are we talking about? It is called the gradual deterioration of the public health, both mentally and physically, as a result from the mental. Now, instead of applying super glue to a house of cards that can no longer be held together, wouldn't it be time to break this vicious circle and act in a more far-sighted and cost-efficient way. What is needed is much more budget for mental health care as well as preventive and engaging groundwork, both from the government and the private sector together. The call for the public-private partnership is growing. Thank goodness more and more people are realizing how important those are, and they shall help people to find themselves again in a healthy work environment so they can become more self-secure and be less dependent on help from the outside. Our common lifelines must be based on progressive and genuine collaboration where we can create a new public health discussion and work towards a healthier and more sustainable society. And before I finish today's chapter, let me quickly address a few words to all the witch hunters out there who don't like my videos. I'm a true transformational wonder, so don't hunt me or my loved ones down, because I will always change my wood or my hood if necessary. To everyone else, don't forget to always smile in a sustainable way. Yours sincerely,